Kampung kakis is a Malay term. Kampung means village in Malay, and kakis is buddies. So very simply put, it's like village buddies. Actually started Kampung kakis pretty early on during the pandemic. So this was in April of 2020. I started this initiative with two other of my co-founders. And it was actually one of my co-founders who came up with the idea while she was recovering from COVID in the hospital at that time. So this is May, and she came up with the idea of forming a neighborhood buddy system that matches neighbors in need with a volunteer resident that lives close by. So we actually match neighbors to volunteers based on a few factors. The most important one would be proximity, as well as their needs, and also their preferences like gender or language preferences as well. We don't actually have any strict restrictions or commitments that we ask of from our volunteers. So once we match a volunteer with a beneficiary or neighbor in need, we leave it up to our volunteers to then reach out to the neighbor in need on their own accord. And we also actually have gotten some funds to purchase one-time off grocery packs for their beneficiaries. So this is actually kind of like our way of breaking the ice for both the beneficiaries as well as the volunteers, so that when they reach out to, a lot of times, like when our volunteers get matched to a beneficiary, they are very unsure of how the interactions would be like. So we tell them, oh, maybe you can just start off by asking them what they need help with. And then from there, when they let them know like what kind of essentials or necessities they need, they can use this set of funds that we have received to then purchase like a set of essentials grocery packs for the beneficiaries. So a lot of times, our volunteers actually also purchase and continue purchasing grocery packs for their beneficiaries out of their own pocket. Also, they would do regular check-ins on their neighbors, and also if they are lone elderlies, they would also check in on them, go in and make sure that they're doing okay, they're taking their medications regularly, and then just basically be a friend to them, a listening ear. Because a lot of times when you're living alone, especially in such a urbanized society, you get very isolated from the rest of the world. And I think it's very important to have somebody just to chat with, maybe even like 5 minutes every week, 10 minutes every week, or somebody just knock on your door and say, hi, how are you doing? I think that makes a whole lot of difference. Another one is that we work with a local school called the National Technological University in Singapore. And we offer online Zoom classes, tuition classes to our kakis who have young children. So these are some of the initiatives that we run alongside our core activity, which is the buddy matching system. So actually, when we first started Kampung Kakis, we wanted it to be a very tech-light platform. Because a lot of our beneficiaries that we are trying to reach out to, they are not as tech savvy. A lot of them, about 70% of our beneficiary households are actually lone seniors. So that on that end, when we are looking for outreach to our beneficiary households, that would be very tech-like. But on the volunteer side, then we would have to use a lot of different digital tools to market our platform, and also reach out to more volunteers to get them to sign up with us. And on the matching side of things on the back end, that's definitely a little bit more tech heavy, in the sense that we would be using Google Maps platform to overlay our beneficiary households with our volunteer households, and then look for a suitable match that is within close proximity. When we first started Kampung Kakis, we really didn't really have like a concrete plan of where this was going to head to. It was just a ground up initiative that we wanted to start a platform so that we can match neighbors in need with a volunteer. And we got a lot of outreach from many other organizations who reached out to us saying that they wanted to partner and also provide resources to these beneficiaries. So currently we're working with over 50 different organizations who are offering different types of resources. And we're working with a lot of other social service agencies and volunteer welfare organizations who are referring their beneficiaries to us. And I think in this space as well, in the volunteer community space, everyone is just out to do good. And there is no ill meaning, and everybody is always very willing to spare a little bit extra time and energy and effort to just do something good for their community. Fishery was actually referred to us by his daughter, who was living in the United States. She's a Singaporean, but she was stuck overseas due to all the COVID restrictions, and she couldn't come back to Singapore to visit her father. So she actually reached out to us, asking for Kampung Kakis to match her with a volunteer that would be able to help her father set up the secondhand iPad that she got for him and teach him how to use Zoom to make video calls so they could connect virtually every week. So we managed to find a group of volunteers who lived nearby in his neighborhood, and they actually went down to his home and taught him how to use Zoom to make video calls. And apart from that, they even went out of the way to purchase gifts and food for him during his birthday to celebrate it together with him, as well as celebrate Father's Day with him. So I think the daughter was very, very appreciative of our volunteers for going out of the way to do these little thought bits of care and concern, for her father, even though she was not able to come back, and she didn't ask for them to do that. And he actually passed away early on, around mid of 2021 last year. And she wrote us a pretty long, heartfelt message on Facebook and thanked our volunteers for helping her be able to connect with her father during his last days, so that he could at least have virtual video calls with her, as well as her daughter, which is his grandchild, during his last days, and made him feel warmth. And even though he's not able to see his family in person, we are looking to launch a few initiatives that we have in mind. So one of which is digital kakis. So basically, the idea of having the digital kakis initiative is to match a resident in need with a volunteer who can guide them along their digital journey. Because now, with the pandemic especially, a lot of these services are moving or have moved online already. And with our aging population in Singapore as well, a lot of the older generations are not familiar and are not tech savvy. So many people are facing difficulties trying to navigate the digital tools and mobile applications that are popping up left, right, and center. So we are hoping that with the Digital Kakis initiative, the volunteers will be able to guide them along their digital journey. Another one is a medical escort initiative that we wanted to run, but do not have the capacity or the bandwidth at the moment. But basically, because a lot of these elderlies, they are living alone, they're not very mobile. So they are not able to make a trip down to their nearby clinics or hospitals to do their medical checkups. And a lot of times the social workers are also not able to spare a lot of time out of their daily schedules to accompany an elderly for their medical appointments for like 2, 3, 4 hours even. So we're hoping to launch this initiative so that we can find volunteers, maybe pay them like a small sum of small token of appreciation, and then have them accompany the elderly to their medical appointments. I think what Otonari Sunday is doing is really important, especially in a society that is very similar to Singapore, because in Japan is also an aging population society. And this is very similar to Singapore. So it's very important for the younger folks to take care of our aging population. That's one thing. Another thing is also we're living in a society that's more and more disengaged with our surroundings, where everything is now online, everything is digital. So having these regular social activities that are being organized on a monthly, weekly basis, it definitely helps to take people out of their homes, do a little bit of social interaction, and make new friends along the way. And it's so nice to like walk along the streets, meet somebody that you actually know that's your neighbor living in the neighborhood, and just go like, hi, oh, how was your weekend? I think it's such a nice warm feeling that you get when somebody just reaches out to you, you know. Yeah. So it's really great what Ordinary Sunday is doing. And I hope that you guys continue doing the great work that you're doing.